It's that time, everybody. Woohoo,
What time
everybody.
is it?
It's hog slop time, Clint.
Time to slop the hogs.
Time to slop them hogs. And you're here with your boy, Bigger T and Big C, and we're ready. Are you ready?
I think that you know what they're really ready to do, Travis. They're ready to give us a like. They're ready to
Oh,
share.
yes, they are. They are so ready.
But what are we talking about this week on the in the slop house, Travis?
Well, we got to talk some basketball. We got, had
Oh,
a
shoot.
had a pretty good week. I mean, even though it was 1-1 last week, we had Bart Reed on and we talked about the basketball team. And then after that, we played Auburn and we played Mizzou. And we'll talk about those games and we'll talk about the rest of the season and the job Coach Cal's doing and how some of those players are doing and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll talk a little bit of baseball. Baseball's kicking up. I guess we're 7 games in now. And well, maybe 8 after tonight. We're recording this on Tuesday night, and the Hogs just beat Grambling State. We'll talk about that. And then who knows what else we'll talk about?
Yeah, we don't
Maybe
even
we
know.
may even talk about chicken wings. You never know.
Yeah, chicken
You
wings.
never know. Whatever
Maybe,
comes up.
maybe the state of the economy of chicken wings.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
You almost didn't have me until you brought out chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
Yeah,
Love chicken wings.
that's right.
All right, guys.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, share a bunch. Tell people how great it is, even if you don't think it's great. We don't care if you fib a little bit.
No,
I'm
feel
good
good.
with it.
Hey,
I won't get
Travis,
mad.
is that Sean Michelle here in the background?
I think yep. Kick it, Sean.
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Ever seen a blind man see? I promise you a change his name. You ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change his name. Changes me, my Lord, changes me. Can you hear me now? Church, can you hear me now? Ever seen a broken heart made whole? Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen a weak find the strength? I promise you I'll change his name. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death?
What's up, everybody? Now's the time for Hawg Slop Podcast to officially get cranking. Crank that thing up. Come on now. It's Hawg Slop with your boy Bigger T. And I'm joined as always by my best friend, Clint Clark, Big C. How you doing, homeboy?
Did you really just say crank that thing up?
I did say crank that thing up.
Crank that thing up. Well, I guess
Yeah.
we're at a full crank. Full
Full
crank.
crank. We got it cranked up.
Full crank. But yeah, man, it's been a good week. It's been a good week for me. Yeah, hopefully you've having a good week.
Yeah.
Everything
Something I'm noticing, Clint, we're not as young as we used to be.
we definitely are not.
Shocker, right? And when I was younger, I'm like part polar bear, man. I can handle the cold.
Yeah.
I got plenty of insulation. I mean, I could go deer hunting and sit out in the cold with minimal amount of clothes on. I would have clothes on, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't have to go crazy. Some of these people have these little propane heaters in their deer stand. I never owned a propane heater for my deer stand, okay? Maybe break out the hot hands every now and then. Insulated boots a little bit, insulated gloves. That's about it. But as I've gotten older, I don't know what it is. I guess circulation's gotten worse or whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't like the cold as much.
No.
Now I can still handle it pretty well, but it's not as well as I used to could, right? I like
Yeah.
I like a little warmth a little better. The heat in the house
Yeah.
goes a little higher than it used to be.
Yeah.
I used to keep it on about 60 all the time, in the winter time, and I was good with that. But now we're getting closer to that 70 range, all right? I mean, I know, but last week, Clint, in Arkansas, that was cold, dude.
Dude, it was.
12 degrees one morning. And when I'm on my way to work at like 6 in the morning, getting in my truck,
Yeah.
dude, that was
So,
cold.
so now a couple weeks ago, I drove down to Victoria to look for some places, down there. I left Arkansas, and this is Arkansas. It's a 9-hour drive to Victoria from here.
Mm,
And I left Arkansas, and it was like in the 20s.
mm,
I got to Victoria, Texas,
mm.
and it was 75 degrees.
Golly.
Now, did you ever play football like in the bitter cold? I remember, getting dressed and you talking about it being there, but like I can think of two cold weather things that happened in my football career. But I'm gonna let you answer first.
Well, I remember 11th grade, Dover.
Okay.
Remember that game?
I
I
didn't
mean,
play probably.
we
So.
didn't play much, but it was sleeting.
Okay.
No, it was 10th grade, 10th grade.
10th grade Dover. Yeah. Okay.
And
We didn't
we
play at
we were
all.
at Dover. Channel 7 showed up with Friday night
Yeah.
flights, and they had to leave early because the sleet was so bad. They didn't know if they were going to be able to get home with the helicopter.
Yeah.
And it was like we're standing on the sideline. And back then, you didn't have Under Armour, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we're wearing our hoodies underneath our our shoulder pads.
See, I would always wear a turtleneck during cold
Yeah.
weather. I had a turtleneck I would wear. Now, I remember senior year. No, we actually did play. We played Perryville at the time. I don't know how Perryville's football team is now. Back then, they were terrible.
Yeah.
They were the worst team. I all kidding aside, played the first quarter that I started, and I played the first quarter of that game, and then I was out the rest of the game. Now, Branscombe also wore long sleeves. I remember, I remember Jeremy. No, Branscombe, I think went sleeveless underneath it, and
You got to
and
be
when
tough. Yeah.
yeah, it was either him or Jeremy Roberts. I couldn't remember. One of them guys were wearing no sleeves. I'm like, man, I'm wearing my turtleneck. They were the geniuses because it was sleeting and sleeting that
Yeah.
night, and my turtleneck got
Yep.
soaked. It may have been the coldest I've been in my entire life. So I learned a lesson. But now fast forward to college. I'm a young freshman. These mean seniors by the name of Brian Jumbo Coffin.
Mhm.
Do you know Brian Jumbo Coffin?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's been friend. He's been on the podcast for him and his son Chance. Um, so I come out. It's first cold weather practice. I'm wearing my turtleneck. I walk out there and Jumbo goes, "What is that?" A turtleneck. What am I wearing? Cold weather. He goes, "We don't do
Yeah.
that." So
Don't
you
do
know
it.
what I did, Travis?
Took off your turtleneck.
Took it right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like, yeah, we don't wear sleeves.
Yeah.
And like there was one of the senior offensive linemen that did it, and I said, "That guy's doing it," and he's like, "Yeah, but he's in this fraternity.
Yeah.
You go." So I went and took
You're a
it.
freshman. You don't count. So
Yeah. Like I didn't. You know what? I just took it off. It's like, yep. So no,
yeah.
no. I mean, like I said, that's before the time of Under Armour. Under Armour made it like
Oh yeah.
long, cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Clint, we kind of got a different little holy shnikes.
Yeah, this one's depressing. And
Yeah,
sad.
you're brokenhearted over this. I know because
Pretty-
it's
well, I love to get some wing.
yeah.
Dude, okay. So basically, what we're talking about is apparently an American treasured institution is in a financial pickle here, Travis. I hear after
Financial fried pickle.
fried pickle. I don't even know.
Do they have
How
fried
do you
pickles?
Okay, stop. Just stop. How do you prefer your fried pickles? In chips or spears?
Chips.
Me too. Chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
By far. If you get it in spears, it's because you're just too.
Those pickle fries they have at Sonic right now are gross.
I haven't tried them.
They're not really gross, but they're just not good because they get just gooey, and you don't want that.
Anyway, back to the Holy Shnikes moment of the week. Hooters is in financial dire straits. I mean, just financial dire straits. And Travis,
A concept you thought would never.
no,
Chicken wings and scantily clad women.
had their own
You
casino.
think in America
hotel.
that would
Yeah.
stick?
But I mean, the problem is how many people have ripped off that concept.
Yeah, that's true.
Like everybody's it's like that's a great idea,
Yeah.
scantily clad women and wings. And so
Yeah.
anyways,
And bar food. Yeah.
or food. Why didn't I think of that?
Good
And so
idea.
now that's what everybody.
Now you're a big fan of the smoked chicken
I'm
wing.
I'm a big fan of the smoked chicken wings. I loved it. I liked them so much. I even started smoking my own chicken wings. I'd never smoked a chicken wing in my life before I had there. And it's funny how I ended up discovering them because I was working in Southwest Little Rock at the time, and I was going to go eat at Chick-fil-A,
Mm.
the Lord's Chicken.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I was going to go eat the Lord's Chicken, and there was a line out the door. And then I was suddenly like, I don't need to eat the Lord's Chicken that bad.
Yeah.
So I left and went to the hotbed of sandwiches, Hooters.
Yeah.
And then I going to Hooters, and I had their smoked wings. They were phenomenal. But Travis, I did some research, and there are a lot of famous people who have worked at Hooters. A lot of them have.
Yeah.
Uh, now I told you there's a pro wrestling legend that you would never guessed that worked at Hooters.
You want me to
Now
guess?
I'm going to give you three guesses just so I can make fun of them.
John Cena.
If he went to work, no one could see him.
Well, that's true. Um, The Rock.
Do you see Dwayne the Rock Johnson working? He'd get
No.
fired for
Yeah.
harassment. But he was a busy college football player, Travis, and
Yeah.
he did not need to.
Let's see who else, because Hooters isn't that old necessarily of a company, so it's not like Dusty Rhodes or somebody like that. So let me have one more guess.
Brian,
I'm gonna say the Undertaker.
you got it right, my friend.
Really?
The Undertaker worked at Hooters. You guessed it. It took you three guesses, but
Man, I did pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Undertaker, I guess, worked as
And
a
it
bar.
was a total guess. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wasn't that it was pre-tattoo Undertaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Undertaker.
Nice.
Of
I bet
course,
he was an intimidating fry cook.
dude. Could you imagine? I mean, because he's still. I mean, look, he never was like a big guy, but he's still 6'10" and build. I mean, he is a legit 6'10".
I mean, I can imagine you like, okay, I'm sorry, but my order's cooked wrong. Here, let me go get my cookie. You can tell him.
Comes out. He comes
And
out
he
just
comes, all
like
6'10" of him comes out, and he's got that eye roll he would do. Never mind. Perfect. These wings are perfect.
either.
All right, so Clint, real quick,
Okay.
where does Hooters wings rank? Or where would you say, like, give me, they don't have to be in order.
No, okay.
Like your top three wings.
The top three wings. Okay. Now, I'm more of a Tendies guy at this point, Travis. I love me some Tendies. But if
Tendies are the better economic choice.
right, I mean, man, I like Cane's. Cane's is number one on the
Tendies. Yeah.
Tendies. But we're not talking Tendies. We're talking wings.
Yeah.
Now it depends on what I'm going for. If I'm going for if I want smoked wings or fried bone-in wings, Hooters is my top spot. To me, they have the best wing.
Mm.
If I want to go boneless, I'm going to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
So they're top two, and Wingstop's always good. Now there was a place in North Carolina when I lived there, and I don't remember the place. It's called Wild Wing, and they had a lunch wing buffet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And back then I was so broke I couldn't. Now it would be a problem. Now that I actually have the money where I could go eat somewhere like that once or twice a week, it's best that I'm not around that kind of place.
Yeah.
Because
now, just some suggestions. And I'm not going to say these are the best, okay, but I normally do the boneless. A lot of people would say that's chicken nuggets. Come at me, bro. I'm good. All right.
Yeah.
You can argue that in the comments. But I'm with you with the Buffalo Wild Wings is probably my favorite, mainly because I really like all their flavor. Their sauces are very good. Like their garlic parmesan is one of my favorites. It's really good. And
You know, one thing they don't
couple
do at
others.
Buffalo Wild Wings anymore, they won't spin the tenders.
Oh, really?
Like they'll put the sauce on the side, but they don't it don't come spinned anymore.
Oh, really? Well,
Anyway,
then my other, but a couple I want to mention. You mentioned that buffet. Applebee's used to have like all you could eat boneless
okay.
wing night. Now their wings are just okay, okay, but when you throw in that it's all you can eat, it was pretty. I mean, and they're not bad. Like their buffalo's really good. And then I'll tell you who's sneaky good at the boneless wings, and I'm sure their regular wings are pretty good. Popeyes.
Okay, now no, yeah. No, I'm gonna give you that. You know what they had? You know, they were doing those saucy nugs at Wendy's. And I got those one night and I told my wife, I said, it was like someone goes, I'm gonna take these really crappy chicken nuggets and I'm gonna spin them in a Buffalo Wild Wing sauce.
Yeah.
It's what it tasted like. It was so awful.
There's a restaurant in Camden. There's only at one time there was nine of them. I don't think there's nine of them anymore. The farthest one north was Little Rock, but it's called Andy's. And a
Yeah,
friend of mine ran them for a while. And one of the things he
I went to
introduced,
Conway for a minute.
and one of the things he introduced, well, there wasn't one in Conway when my friend was running them,
Oh yeah, well,
but one of
was
the
one in
things
Conway
he
for a while.
introduced was a chicken sandwich. And he would take, it was a pretty big chicken, like fried chicken, breast. And they would dip it in buffalo sauce and hot sauce, like the whole thing in the hot sauce, and then put it on a bun. It was pretty daggum good, but then I think some people spoke up about it because they were just dipping it in the same sauce instead of putting it in a bowl and saucing it or whatever. And they realized that, oh yeah, we're not really supposed to do that. But anyway, so then they started pouring the sauce over the top of it. But anyway, it was pretty good.
Fair enough.
Anyway, all right. So
Yeah, I got one question for you, and
yeah,
I know this is probably more jibber jabber than you care to have, and I apologize, but it's on my mind, and I got to get it out. I just want to see how bougie I've gotten. So I'm going to ask you this: would you, on your own, out of your own volition, make the choice and pay to go eat at a Golden Corral?
no,
Okay, good. I haven't gotten as bougie as I thought because I wouldn't either. Like, I mean, I'd go there because my kid would want to go eat there, but on my own,
the
I would
food's
not.
just not good to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The last time I went was years ago, and it was some members of my family wanted to go, and I think it was a holiday or around a holiday,
Yeah.
and I was just in town, and they wanted to go there, and I regretted it because I'm like, man, I could have done better at a fast food place
Yeah.
than this food. And sure, there's more of it, but I'm sorry, I don't. Just because there's more crap, don't mean I want to eat more crap.
Yeah. But you can go eat fried chicken, tacos, then you can get
Yeah, yeah. Now, if you opened up a Shoney's bar, I'm there.
yeah.
Shoney's breakfast bar
Don't even know. Oh no.
all day
All
long,
day. All
all day
day.
long.
All day.
Bring it
Oh,
back. Bring it back,
get
y'all.
back. Yes.
Okay. All right, let's talk some basketball. People are like, these fat guys talking about food, man.
Probably made somebody hungry. Mostly
Listen,
me.
I've been on a diet for a long time, and all that stuff we're talking about, I ain't been eating in a long time. So I like talking about it. Brings back memories. Anyway, um, so basketball. Last week played Auburn, number one team. And Clint played them pretty well.
Played them tough. It got away from you a little bit at the. I mean, you lost. The game wasn't in doubt, but we played them tough, and they are.
Got it close down the stretch, but then Auburn took it away. Now, of course, Big Z had a bad game.
Mhm.
And then, of course, to his credit, he told Coach Cal that'll never happen again. So far, it hadn't. Trevin Brazil, once again. Dude, what happened? Scores for the other team. Puts the basket in for Auburn. He scored more for Auburn than he did for Arkansas. And then he steals a rebound from Billy Richmond. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Now, against Missouri, he played a little better. but he had to. Okay, I mean, he pretty much had to. He still every now and then looked like fish out of water. But um, I I know we've talked about it, but man, I just don't understand what has happened to that dude. Um, but you go to you play Auburn, number one team. They're a great team, and you got to be pretty happy with. I mean, the fight. I mean, we played well. The fight was good. Then you come back another quad one game against 15th ranked Missouri, who had just beat Alabama. And Clint, we beat them.
Yeah, and that was about as about to have it as you could.
Yeah.
Because without winning, I think now you can lose one of your next four.
Yeah.
I might even be able to lose two. I wouldn't advise it though. But you're talking about.
I think if you lose two, you got to win a game or two in the tournament.
Yeah, but I think if you go 3-1, which is doable, I believe the schedule is Wednesday. We play Texas at home. Texas, we've already beat. We shouldn't overlook them though, because Texas is dangerous.
Yeah.
Then South Carolina. South Carolina is the worst team in the league, but you're at their place.
And they've played some people really well.
Yeah, if you don't show up, and then I know they have another away game. I believe it's at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Vanderbilt is not bad. Now their record is better than ours.
Yeah.
And then you close the season, I believe, with A&M at home. Is that correct?
No, Mississippi State.
Mississippi State home. Okay.
Who's ranked 24th right now?
Ranked 24th. So every one of those games is winnable, and every one of them is losable.
Yep.
If you don't show up, any of those teams can beat you. You're going to have to show up every time.
Well, and to throw a little more of a wrench into it, Thero left that last game. Our best player left the last game with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
According to the press conference today, he's still day to day. So they don't know if he's going to play tomorrow night against Texas. We don't know if he's going to be out. There's rumors he's going to be out the rest of the season. There's rumors he's not going to be out at all. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't really know. If you got to play without him, first of all, if you're Coach Cal, who do you inject into that starting lineup in his place?
Billy Richmond.
I think our boy Bart Reed would agree with that.
Yeah, I think Billy Richmond, because you're down. You talked about Brazil. I mean, he's your other option, and then Jonas
Adu.
Badu.
Now I think Adu may end up being it.
Adu,
especially against Texas.
Yeah,
I think they may start him and Z together. For a couple reasons. First of all, Richmond has done awesome, and like we gave flowers to Bart Reed last week, he's been telling us, he's been singing Richmond's praises to us since before the season started. However, Richmond does have a problem getting into foul trouble because he does play so aggressively.
Yeah.
And so, and he does serve well as that spark off the bench. And Cal has mentioned that he wanted to get Adu and Z playing together some. He did against Missouri, and Adu had a good game. Adu actually did pretty good.
Now, that being said, what is Nolan Richardson famous for saying? It doesn't matter who starts, it's who finishes.
That's right.
I mean,
Billy, and then here's the deal. You're down to 7 players, Clint.
Yeah.
Now, against Missouri, all 5 starters are in double figures, which is great.
You have to have another big effort from the majority of the.
Yeah, but you're down to 7 in your rotation. I mean, you're going to have to bring someone else off the bench. I don't know who that next person is going to be. But they're going to have to. And the truth is, we haven't seen anybody else come off the bench really, except for in a couple blowouts at the beginning of the season. So, it's going to be all those 7, man. They're going to get lots of playing time. if Thero's out.
Right now we're in the last. Were we in the first four in or the last four in? However they say it, but
Last four in. Yeah.
we're in the last four in right now
Yeah.
by projection. So
Yeah.
we are firmly on the bubble, and all you got, and the thing is, the more you keep winning, the more
Yeah.
you're off that bubble. Now we will. Now, if right now would we have to play one of those games like in Dayton to make it to the big dance?
I doubt it, but who knows how that draw will go. But
Well, yeah, but either way, you're in the dance, you're in the discussion, you're
yeah.
playing postseason basketball, which is where you want to be. Travis, what are your thoughts on the job that John Calipari is doing this year?
Well, and here's the deal. I think it's a good time for us to be thinking about that, of how he's doing. And, because he took a lot of hits. A lot of people have been saying things like, like they were griping about him wearing blue suits and, crap like that. I mean, just stupid fan stuff, right?
Right.
But he's doing, like, the other night there was a video of him talking about he was talking about his play after they beat Missouri. He got on to him saying, don't, after you close out on a 3-point shooter, don't keep your hand up so I see you that you got your hand up at the three. He said, because you still failed on that play. If you were there in place, they wouldn't have got the three up. Like, that's the message he gave them after the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's still coaching. He's still coaching technique. He's still coaching effort. He's still coaching all those things. These are guys that, that don't really, it's a whole new squad, and our fans don't really know him that well. And I think he's done a good job of not only on the court getting them ready to play games and making a team out of them, but Clint, off the court. The Vice show Calipari was on last night, and they showed them doing that Christmas deal where they gave presents to some local families and paid their rent, and kind of gave a longer view of that than what we'd seen of some smaller videos of that. And that was really good stuff, man. And then to top it off, this last weekend, they bring in the 1990 Final Four team.
Oh, yeah.
And honor them. And not only did he bring them in and honor them during the game, but he had them come to dinner with him the night before. He had them speak to the team, and the players talked about how much they got out of Todd Day's speech and Nolan Richardson's speech and some of those guys. Man, I love that. I love that he's embracing that. And those players talked about, by doing that, we saw that we're part of something bigger here. And man, that was so.
And that was the group. That was the group that built it. That was Oliver Miller, Todd Day, Lee Mayberry.
Well, you could say the triplets really built it, but they were the ones that kept.
They were Nolan's guys.
Yeah.
I can vaguely remember Eddie Sutton.
I don't really remember it much. I
remember
just knowing the history of it.
This brain going into Razorback basketball. Todd Day, Mayberry.
For my fandom, that's where it started, and then your fandom. And we talked about our buddy. We can call him that.
Yeah,
Oliver Miller.
Oliver Miller. Big
that's right. It's been on this podcast a couple of times, and guys like that. I mean, that's who we were pretending to be on the basketball court when we'd play. And so you're right. But how do you think Cal's doing? I'd give him an A-.
The SEC is like just unbelievably tough this year.
Yeah.
It just is. And there was a lot of growing pains with this team and figuring it out because, you're starting from zero. You got three guys that played at Kentucky last year back together with Big Z, Wagner, and
Thero.
And Big Z and Thero really didn't play that much for him last year, I don't believe. So the only one that really played a bunch was Wagner, and so you've got a bunch of new pieces. They're talented pieces, but they're pieces. You're trying to figure it out. there was no core to this team, and there's no
Yeah.
glue, and there's no chemistry, and against lesser thans, they just out talented them.
Yeah.
When you got into guys that were teams, you got punched in the mouth at Tennessee,
Yeah.
and the SEC is so deep. It's just the SEC is just unbelievable in basketball.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. I just haven't. And
Yeah.
to be able to take a team that was nothing, there was literally nothing there, and build it to be competitive. I mean, because there's I guess Kentucky and Arkansas are the only two teams really with first year head coaches of note in the
Yeah.
SEC. The rest of them are established, and it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows for Kentucky either. They figured it out faster than Arkansas did, but I
Yeah.
think Arkansas's figuring it out and done what they're supposed to be doing. And Coach Cal, this team could have quit.
Yeah.
This team had every reason to quit.
Especially when Boogie got hurt.
Yeah, when Boogie got hurt, and it's just like crap. And instead, it just seemed like they went to Kentucky, where everybody was just like that. I mean, they had it's like Cal was in the grave, and they're ready to shovel the dirt on him,
Yeah.
and sprung up like the Undertaker, and
Yeah.
grabbed Scooter's wing, and
Yeah. Undertaker just got 2 references in this podcast.
yeah, there you go. That's an all-time record for the Undertaker in this podcast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, that says something about Cal and the job he's doing. This team didn't quit, and it's gotten better.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. And I mean, would you want to play him in the NCAA tournament? Like a 11 seed Arkansas, a 12 seed Arkansas that just you're the number 5 seed. You're somebody like Mississippi State, and you're a 5 seed. And then, you get Arkansas,
Yeah.
Either we'll put them up against an SEC 5 seed, so you'll be playing on somebody else, from probably lesser conference. I mean, I could see that if this team can get in the tournament, I think it can. I ain't gonna say it's an Elite 8 team or a Sweet 16 team, but it could win a game, maybe 2.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It's always a possibility. I would bet them. I'd bet on them to win their first game if they get in.
Yeah.
I would about guarantee that they would win their first game.
Yeah.
Now, what the problem is, you'll probably be in a position where you got to go against like a 2 or a 1.
Yeah.
And that's where
tough.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit tougher but right now 2 of the 1 seeds are probably Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah.
And then Duke, is probably another one. Have you watched any Cooper Flag?
Oh yeah.
I have not watched much of them, but I know Kyle, my oldest son, he was talking about he's a big Duke fan,
Yeah.
and so
I hadn't really heard a lot of Flag, but then I started researching him a little bit and saw some interviews about him and stuff like that. And man, there was my favorite story that I heard was when he was 13. This coach, I forget where the coach was coaching, but he was coaching like some of the best players in the country and training them or whatever, like at either New York or Florida or something like that. And the Flags AAU coach said, "Hey, I want to bring this kid from Maine to come play." He said, "He's the real deal." And he said, "Man, whatever."
Yeah.
He said, "Ain't no kid from Maine gonna be able to hang with my guys." And this coach that's telling this story on the podcast, he said, "Look," he said, "I had some dogs out there." He said, "I had some of the best 17, 18-year-olds in the country." And he said, and that's who this 13-year-old was coming into play. And he said, and I had these guys on their toes. He said, our practices and scrimmages were intense. These games were intense. He said guys would be in each other's faces. I mean, there'd be near fights a lot of times. He said, but I wanted them to play that way. I wanted them to play, all out. And he said, Flag comes in there. He said, this lanky white boy from Maine, comes in there, and all of a sudden, like, he's doing pretty good. And one of the first things he does is dunks on one of the best 17 or 18-year-olds in the country.
Yeah.
As a 13-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
And that coach goes, okay, okay, this guy's for real. That coach wasn't lying. And he said, that's what separates him. He said, yeah, he's got a lot of skill. He said, but
Right.
there's a lot of guys that have skill. He said, but he's got that mentality that he's not scared of anybody. No situation's too big. He's just a baller. And, now he's had some late games. I was watching one game and he slipped and fell. He was trying to go in for like a last second shot or last, few second shot. And I guess they didn't like mop up some sweat on the floor and he slipped and
Yeah.
fell or something. But man, he's impressive and he's going to go pro and do some big things,
Yeah.
I think.
Now, Travis, have you watched? I would normally go into how you're watching, what you're watching. We were talking about basketball here. Have you watched any of Court of Gold on Netflix?
I have watched a little bit of it.
Yeah,
I haven't
and
watched the whole
it's
thing.
it's really I've enjoyed watching it. It is really entertaining to me. One of the things that really struck out to me was when they did the Dream Team, part of the thinking was to expand the game.
Yeah.
Wasn't I mean, a lot of it was we just want to show everybody how good we are at basketball.
Yeah.
But they talked about the Dream Team played 9 NBA players that entire tournament.
Yeah.
Canada has 9 NBA players on that team.
Yeah. Now.
Like now, yeah, it's one of the things. If the best of the best don't go to the Olympics, we're not gonna win.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Well,
with
and also on that, they were talking about Yugoslavia didn't even like they weren't even in that Olympics that the Dream
right, yeah,
Team
they
played
they're
in,
probably the best
and they
second.
were probably the second best team. Yeah.
I mean, the
So
Dream Team would have still probably beat them by 30.
yeah, yeah,
Did you know they're doing a documentary on that college team that beat the Dream Team?
oh really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Of course, that was because Grant Hill was like, yeah, we went and played them, but we weren't allowed to talk about it really, and then it got out. And of course, from now, of course, I'm sure the game's lore has grown through the years. Like it was like Eric Montross, Grant Hill, Chris Webber was on that team, so it wasn't like
Yeah,
a
nobody's.
bunch of
Yeah,
nobodies. I mean, that was a good team, but like Chuck Daly, they coached to lose that game, from what
yeah.
Coach Day said. He said,
He
"No,
wanted to humble them.
I
Yeah,
want to show them they're beatable." It was like Jordan hardly played,
yeah,
and
yeah. Well, okay. Let's
I'm
talk a
sorry.
little Razorback baseball first.
Yeah.
The Hogs go down to uh, Fort Worth. Was it in Fort Worth, Arlington?
Fort
Arlington.
Worth or Arlington,
Arlington.
same thing.
And lots of Razorback fans went down.
Yeah,
There was a bunch down there. I had several friends that went and were posting pictures of them down there and go 2-1, lose to Kansas State, which Kansas State was the best team down there, or had the best record anyway, of the teams down there. In that first game against Kansas State, the Bats just couldn't get going. Okay. But in the next two games, the Bats finally got rattling a little bit. Pitching did pretty good. Gage Wood ended up having to leave the game that he pitched in with an injury, so there's worry about him. Okay. And then tonight, or this afternoon, Grambling State comes up to Fayetteville, and the Hogs took care of them pretty easy, 14
yeah,
3.
13-2, probably a 7 inning,
14-3.
14-3. Yeah,
Yeah. And but I do want to give a shout out to a Camden boy, Martavius Thomas. He's graduated a couple years ago. He plays for Grambling. He's an outfielder and was actually committed to the Razorbacks for a while, and I don't know what happened, but he ended up going to Grambling State, and he's the highest rated recruit ever to sign with a historically black college for baseball.
cool.
And anyway, he good kid. When we used to play softball, his dad was the best shortstop in our little league in Camden. And Martavius was a little boy he used to play, and he'd talk trash to everybody, man.
That's funny.
And you could tell even as like a 4 or 5 year old kid, like he was a better athlete than any of the other kids out there. And so anyway, but he had one hit and 1 RBI. It looks like getting to play at bomb against the Razorbacks. So that was good
No,
for
an Arkansas kid, that's got
Arkansas
to be a
kid.
dream come true. And
Yeah,
to have some success against Arkansas has got to be
yeah,
a dream come true. I mean, the Arkansas baseball team is going to be what the Arkansas baseball team is. I mean, you're win 2 out of 3. Drop that first one. Of course, we'd all like to go 3-0. Kansas State ended up going 3-0. This is a tournament, this little showcase that Dave Van Horn likes.
Mhm.
I mean, so it'd be good to see how this team develops, and I'm sure everybody's going to be complaining about Thompson. Everybody's going to want him fired already, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Well, I'll tell you,
they need to go and get rid of Mike Neighbors so we can start grappling about Thompson.
we need to, in one hand, we need to keep our connection to Hawaii, or at least to the Loy family.
The Loy family is.
Yeah. Now, Souza is not hitting very good, so they need to do something about him. He needs to get his bat rolling. He's a Hawaii guy too, but little Aloy's got a bat, man, and
Yeah.
they just got to figure out a position for him. He was a pitcher at BYU, and so they're trying to figure out where they can play in the field. I mean, he'll DH a lot, but they need to find a good position for him that he can
It's
play.
good to have a depth problem. Like, I got to figure out how to get this guy in the game.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that tells you about the quality depth that we have.
yeah, for sure. For sure, man. Well, Clint, the NFL Combine is happening next week.
Yeah. I'm ready to run my 40.
Are you? You ready for it?
No, I'm not ready to run it. I'm aiming to start this week to get my 40 done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll take a few steps starting now, and maybe I'll get done by the time they close things up next week. We're hoping Landon Jackson has a good showing, and we're hoping Armstrong, Tesla, Jaquindon Jackson, and the rest of the guys, Eric Gregory. Hoping they have a good showing up there, and make some money. But here's another thing, kind of a little NFL talk for you. Came out today. Jason Peters is officially retiring.
Officially retiring. Yeah, I think the next stop's probably the Hall of Fame.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he.
Yeah. Undrafted defensive end, tight end in college.
Yeah.
And
there were plenty of years he was the best left tackle in football.
Yep.
Best left tackle in football for many, many years.
And there's a couple years that Sean Andrews was playing there beside him, and they played beside each other in Fayetteville, of course, except it was tight end and right tackle.
Yeah.
But when we had both of them, he just ran behind those two guys.
They ran behind those two. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly. Make Houston look like a genius.
That's right. That's right. That was another thing about that ball game against Missouri. Houston Nutt was in the stands, Nolan Richardson was in the stands, and Mike Anderson was in the stands. So that was a good thing to see. It was good to see those guys. So,
with Mike, with Mike, I think it was like, hey, Mike, we think you've got this program as far as you can take it.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. Because he did I didn't want him hired I didn't want Pelfrey fired when they fired Pelfrey, but I was the only one.
Yeah.
But they brought Anderson back, and it was what it was. And
yeah.
So.
Clint, man, it's been a good week.
Been a good week. I know here's where you go what you're watching, and I go Court of Gold. I am watching the Gabby Petito documentary.
I watched that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got like 30 minutes left. I'm up to date on the traders now.
Okay.
Of course, I fast forward through the entire thing. I literally watched the roundtable because nothing else is worth watching.
Yeah.
Because all it is you wait on somebody to slip up and accidentally say something they shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Okay. Real talk. Me, you, Wesley, Robert, the 4 friends. You're at a round table for the traders. Okay. Let's just say all 4 are faithful. Which one of us do you think is going to slip up first and get voted off?
You.
See, I would say that, but also, okay, and you've got to give me credit here. there's probably not one of the four of us that is better at talking their way out of some bull crap than me.
Yeah, but I think
Probably, I would
that
end up flipping it, and we'd get Robert voted off.
I think here's the deal.
Yeah,
I've played a similar game to that
yeah,
that is just pretty much the round table.
right, yeah,
Okay, is Mafia, right? That's what the whole Traders is based on.
uh,
I'm always one of the ones that goes out first.
yeah,
And I'm a pretty good talker, I'm a pretty good lawyer, right?
yeah,
Um and we're similar in that aspect,
yeah.
and I think also in that game sometimes though, the big personality is what gets you gone. And
I
that's
said,
what
no, I
that's
feel
what
like
you
I,
that's what you
yeah,
saw with Bob the Drag Queen and Boston Rob. Big personalities is what got them gone. And I think, and of course they had people from within turn on them on there, but that big personality will get you if you don't kind of play. You got to kind of play under the radar. The ones that last are the ones a lot of times. I mean, it's just like the two girls that were in the last episode that were, it was between those two, Carolyn and what's her name?
yeah, yeah,
They, Carolyn had the bigger personality, so she's the one the more people went with. And so that big personality, a lot of times,
yeah. No, you're right.
will get you, even if you're friendly, even if you got a big person, because people like her. She's so nuts, right? But and people dislike Danielle, or is that her name, Danielle?
And yeah,
They tend to dislike her a little bit, but her personality is not quite as big, even though she was probably more obvious, that she was,
oh yeah,
anyway. So people are like, they're not watching it. I watched a good movie.
yeah.
It's sort of an understated movie, but some great acting. Real Pain.
Never
Have you
seen
heard
it.
of it?
Oh,
It's got I forget his first name. Macaulay Culkin's little brother,
oh, Kieran, yeah.
Kieran McCall, and I watched that Succession show, and I really loved him in that because he's kind of like I was telling Joey the other day when I was talking to him about it. He's kind of one of those guys that he's the same guy in every role he does. He's just his personality,
Right, yeah.
but it works,
Kind of
for
like Kevin Costner,
kind of like Kevin Costner, kind of like what's his name was on ER and Ocean's 11,
George Clooney.
George Clooney. George Clooney's the same guy. He's got the same little ticks, right, in every role he's in. But it works for him because he makes that role align with who he is, and that's what Kieran Culkin does. And anyway, it's a real kind of laid back. I mean, it's not a real action. It's not action or anything, but it's about these two cousins that were kind of raised together. They're Jewish. They're not like. I mean, their families were Jewish. They're not really devoted Jews or nothing, but they go to Poland to visit. Like take a tour with like a tour group, which is only like 8 people in the group or whatever. But they for to visit, some of the concentration camp and some of the sites there, to kind of walk in those steps of what the Jewish people had to walk in there, kind of remembering that's where their grandmother was from, that they were both close to. And so anyway, it's just a kind of a buddy story. Anyway, it's a neat
Yeah,
movie. It's one of those you got to be ready to watch something that's just a good entertaining movie, but not like if you're expecting action from like Marvel or something like that, it's not that. But
yeah.
anyway, it was a neat movie. I enjoyed watching it. So anyway, and once again, I said it I think last week. The Pit on HBO Max is one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. Sorry.
Travis, you know what we need everybody to stop. If you didn't do it earlier, we told you earlier.
All right, stop.
Like,
Subscribe,
go
and
out there and
listen.
listen, then subscribe,
That's right.
then
Comment, share,
share, whatever.
share a lot.
Yeah, no,
Sharing.
Travis does he prefers boneless wings, says they're not chicken nuggets, and he's willing to fight anyone that says it.
Let's go. I'm
And
ready.
if you need his address, holler at your boy. I got you.
That's right. Come on with it. I ain't scared. I ain't
Travis,
scared.
you know, how many is this, buddy?
This is 190.
190.
190.
Away from 200.
10 away. We'll be in 200 in just no time.
Yeah.
No time at all. So anyway, so folks, thank y'all so much. Go Hogs, beat them dirty Longhorns. Get them. Get.
Whoop
Get
it.
on down that trail. Get.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating down so hard, I can barely breathe. Hard to sing a joyful song, the words got me on my knees. Then the gentle breeze blows by, pick me up right on time. Listen, now I know